anti yesterday.
Oh, that is a whole thing.
I knew it 20 years ago for a little cycle of formal wear that I had. Then I abandoned it and forgot how to do it. Had to relearn. And now I think, a new chapter in my...
Back in a little bit, I'll give you guys a 2-minute warning.
Once you learn it, but it seems daunting for a second, But you're into it?
Not into it, but I had to do a bow tie recently, and I was like, oh, this is... My dad showed me how quickly, and I did it like 3 more times just to make sure I got it. I was like, oh, this is actually pretty simple.
Okay. Yeah, I thought so. I mean, I can do it now.
So what's it like being a part of the Wes Anderson world now?
You're fantastic. How long do we have?
Tell us.
So
She just said that
really?
she'd be back in a bit.
Okay, I'll bet it's,
Probably 15, 20.
Probably 15,
15, 20.
We'll get everything in. It is, it's fantastic, a real privilege, I'm very proud to be part of this movie, and he's I don't have to reiterate, an important and serious filmmaker and artist. Mm-hmm. So that's a great, what actor that doesn't want to be part of that thing? And then him particularly, have you met him? Because he's going to be...
Not yet.
He came around. He was, his train came in from Chicago. He's a particularly spectacular trip. He's a great guy and a real artist and a real teacher. And what's it like? What do I know? 10 years ago, Life Aquatic. So, we met, and he's always full of some interesting, guidance. He's a style guide and a travel guide, a location connoisseur. And so I think we went to some restaurant in New York as we were put together, and he said, oh, yeah, I'm thinking, I like you, wow, really, da-da-da, and then Life Aquatic happened. We'd stayed in touch then, these 10 years, and then I got an email and said, I've written this part, Kovacs, so what do you think? And it's a big thrill. And then what's it like? He's it's very creative. As you can see, I dig it. His aesthetic, particular voice that he's found and had from the start in a brilliant way. I'm into it. It's a beautiful thing. So you go on the set, and Adam Stockhausen, who's here, production designer. They collaborate. He turns it into his vision, and on that set, you've heard that in that department store in Görlitz, they turned that into the hotel, and it's a great little installation and museum that you get to go, and I was kind of thrilled and knocked out by everything around there, and so, but creatively, you get this script, and it's all rendered beautifally. That document on its own is a beautiful thing. Beautifully put. He's a wordsmith and a literate black belt master, and the story is gorgeous. From the start you could tell, and then you get there. I was doing that movie Le Weekend, by the way, which opens the week after this, of which I'm
amazing,
also proud. Did you see that?
Yes.
I liked that a lot. Yeah, Roger Michelle. I loved and Jim Broadbent and Lindsay Duncan.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that. But I was there shooting that right when they were in pre-production, so I went over as per his request, and I saw them building the set, in that place, and everybody getting ensconced in that department store, Milena Cananero and all her Italian artists. And he and I went over in that hotel that we were going to see. He was already ensconced in that hotel, and we had a kind of rehearsal, and he had renderings, beautiful drawings of all the characters with your face on it, and this, his idea for the costume and the look of it, and I saw that, and then he and Elena Cananero and I got together, and their team, they had pulled so-called several things. We tried on overcoats and hats, and there was a guy with, trays of vintage glasses, and in fact, they didn't find the exact one there, and I said, hey, I'm going to go back to LA before I come back here. I know some vintage eyeglass people, and maybe I can take a look for myself, and I found them. I found those glasses and showed him a picture. He said, those are the ones, bring those. so I contributed that a little bit. So that's a very creative. And then at that time, we rehearsed so-called. I don't know that he did this with many other people, and it's not his usual way, but I said, I've already worked on this. I worked it up. I showed him what I was doing with those few scenes, and he said, oh, that's good. How about this? Try this. I said, is this, da-da-da-da, and we talked about it, and we talked in actorly ways. I think he's an actor's director, one could say, even though he's got this fully formed aesthetic conviction, which you join up with. The marrying of an actor and his whimsical and theatrical vision is very enjoyable, because he wants it to be filled with something honest, truthful, human, soulful, substantial, etc. So in this so-called rehearsal, we got together, and I said, what's the backstory, like we talk about, how long have I been working for this family, and he had ideas about that, and had an idea about, elaborated on this whole world that he had created, and this situation, and then I said, and finally in this little event, in this character, in this scene with Dimitri, with Adrian Brody, it's what I'm thinking, it's right what's under the surface, that I'm thinking that I'm catching the conscience of the king here by saying, I think there's bad stuff afoot here, and maybe we should turn this all over to the authorities. What do you think? And he reacts like I fear and suspect might be the case, and he goes, don't, just keep your mouth shut and go along. And at that point, I think my character, for the first time and in a crossroads, eventful way, has to go, what with the political goings-on and clouds and storm brewing in this continent and the world and in this family, I have to go, which side am I on? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to join the war. I'm going to be a soldier, and my whole life is going to change starting now. And then, as the story goes, I'm a casualty early on. So that's the story. And so we talked about that and went over it. And then, this is all an answer to what's it like to work with Wes in this part of the world. Sorry, I'm so yappy. And
sorry, that's so
I'm like Alan Alda in Crimes and Misdemeanors. This is still on the first question. The tapes run out. It's a blowhard, but hopefully this will help you. Let's see. So then, what was I going to say? So we rehearsed, and then when I came back, and getting on the set, we're all staying. He's kind of Altman-esque. I'd worked with Robert Altman, and he's making the shooting itself, the process, an art piece on its own, and communal family. That is one of the themes in many of his movies, which he really enjoys, a kind of a beautiful experience. And it was, and a creative experience, and a very focused, blissful, creative experience. And he's the head chef in that feast, and then you go to this thing. The actors, he's kind of designed it so the actors are not going back to traditional style trailers, but they really are hanging around. You get a chef come and make us dinner every night, so you're really, it's more like a troupe and family than some of these movies sometimes are. And he intends it that way, and then you hang around the set and watch him working and other people working, which is all in stone's throw of each other. So that's good. And then finally, when you get to your stuff, he did a lot of takes on this movie, you've probably heard, but in a way that's very beautiful and creative and enjoyable, and it's the last chance you get, hour that you get a chance to visit with this thing and make the raw material from which they're going to cut. And so it's a great little sculpting collaboration of him going, okay, we got that, now do another one. How about this for this section, and do that here. Okay, try that, and another one just for pleasure, and et cetera, and then you're done. So it's kind of like that. You get the idea?
Yes.
They're very unique, and you should never say very unique. Unique is, that's redundant,
It's a bad
right?
word.
Yeah, unique, well, unique, it's redundant. I was told a long time ago, unique means it can't be very unique. If
Yes.
it's unique, it's one of a kind.
Right.
So it's unique and very beautiful, and a great educational time. And, I know, there's something you may be interested in that you've heard or not heard, in a room that's communal in the hotel, he's got not only books of research material that were photographs of old hotels and things like that are very interesting, but a stack of movies from from which, not only the Stefan Zweig novels that he talks about as being an inspiration that I read a bit of, but a stack of movies that he said these are some inspirations for what we're doing here. And I'd never seen, ashamedly enough, a Grand Hotel and To Be or Not to Be, Shop Around the Corner, Mortal Storm, and Bergman's The Silence. Takes surreal activities in a hotel, all having something to do with that. It was very educational for me. I liked that. And then he made an animatic. You've heard of this?
Yeah, wow.
So you heard about that, which I liked terrifically. And our little section, he showed me early on in that rehearsal pre-production thing, the section where Willem was chasing me around the museum finally before he kills me. He said, this is taken from a little bit of an inspiration from Hitchcock's Torn Curtain. He told you that. There you go. So there's
Yeah, you're the first.
there's a section. I'm only saying this because it's no secret. There's a section that he's taken. It's not a recreation of that, but you'll see if you go back and you look at a little section of Torn Curtain where Paul Newman is being whole silence, little section where he's being chased around stalked in this museum. It's a little bit like that. So all of that, it helped terrifically. And it's like I say, very accurately. Even though you hear his voice do all the parts in the animatics, it's creatively inflaming and actorly to try to bring yourself to it and marry something of you with that vision. There you go.
It sounds like it was a great experience, and you've said that it was wonderful. And was there any challenges to that?
Well, it's all challenging. I like, a good meaty experience for me is all challenging. The challenge was, can I, do what he needs to, and make it as good as he wants and as good as it can be in an opportunity like that. That's challenging and alerts a fellow like me to, try to do your best, and everybody else is kind of in that vein too. I notice, and what else is challenging? Yeah, all the aspects of how this thing can work to try to skin the cat, and hit the bullseye is challenging to me. Not an easy thing. I don't do it lightly, and he's passionately devoting himself in a very focused and disciplined way to the whole thing, and I'm nothing if not conscientious, I must say, so I won't bore you with it, but I'm kind of going at it with everything I can. And then, that little story of the character, to really get that is that's good. It's not hard to fall short of it, but, the idea is like similar ideas as, Brando's character in On the Waterfront. I've been going along with this family, and then, I come to a point when I better, decide where my bread's buttered. I like that, but that's a big idea. And like somebody said, his movies are full of real and big ideas. If you're receptive to it, that's on the outside, of course, is this frosting on the cake that's glorious and trippy, but inside it's like a meat cake, somebody said. So inside you get a nice helping of protein and grilled meats.
How strict he is in the definition of the characters, and how much room you have to bring ideas on the character itself, part of your acting, of course, but because he looks to be very, very so precise that it's almost everything is done in the definition of the character.
Well, I tried to address that, but let me say more. It is. I found those. I like little collaborations where the other thing happens, where they go, this is half baked, or it's improvised, or it needs you to let's develop it, together, and what do you want to wear? You got an idea, all that. That's fun too. I like that, but it doesn't take anything away. In fact, it's for me inflaming, like I say, and creatively inspiring to have somebody. It's great. That's what you want anyway. You want to be in a movie where your part works. That's the main thing. No matter how you beat yourself, work on the thing. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and some of that is not up to you. So it's great. It doesn't take anything away from you. It's great to leap on something that hey, here's a team, and this is a thing that's gonna work, and an idea that, oh boy, his idea, he wrote it kind of with you in mind, and it's a way that people haven't seen you yet, and that's all that's all delicious. If his taste were different, if I didn't dig his taste, it would be something else. But to jump on board something where it's, you fill in something that's already been done that's delightful is really good. And then how do I describe, he's not in any way, tight, constricted about in his way of using you. He's not only meticulous and full-blown and very visionary about what he wants and with a passionate conviction, but he's somehow simultaneously free-spirited and loves actors and trusts you, feels that he's trusting you, appreciates you, but trusts you, and needs you to, in a thousand little ways, bring everything to it. It was me who sort of initiated those things about let's talk about what I'm thinking and feeling underneath, and am I right? Detailing all of that stuff, finding the glasses and all that. But it really does feel like a very responsible, adult, actorly, creative way to meet what he's done.
Is part of the fun also working with such a terrific cast for you as an actor?
Oh, yeah. And like I say, he wants this kind of experience, so we were all staying in the same hotel, and we got to hang around. Oh, yeah, Edward Norton is a fountain of wisdom, information. I'm always interested in craft, and I kind of was interested to see how people work, and for me it's a little lesson, it's a little school, and I love it. Ray Fiennes was there the whole time I was there. I was there for about 6 weeks shooting finally, and watching him work, and he talking to him about all sorts of things that I wanted to ask him about. Tilda Swinton I've never met, but had, she's exquisite, and it was great to meet her and talk with her. And Jason Schwartzman, Owen Wilson, Bill Murray. Great to be around and to make something with them, In any way, what a cast.
I have a little bit of a random question, but you've turned into a bit of a internet celebrity of sorts in the past couple
internet what?
Celebrity.
Celebrity.
With I've seen internet memes and remixes of your laugh.
Somebody sent me that. Yeah.
How do you feel about all that? Just you just catapulted into this weird
viral
kind
sensation.
Of viral,
Fine with me. It's okay. It's okay. I don't really look for it, If people send me a thing or two, that's okay. I'm sure it'll come and go.
When did you get the original email? You said you got an email from Wes, and you, and then how long from the time you got the email? I assume that was just I wrote you a part. Would you, shoot me back an email and say yes? And then was it the next day that you started shooting, or was it something? No. I forgot. I should have written down the timeline exactly, but it's when did we? Anyway, it was like a couple of months before I shot the weekend, and before I had that little experience in pre-production. So I'd worked on it for a month or a couple of months or something So I'd learned all my lines. It was enough time I know to learn my lines and to work on and get ideas about it, and then shot the weekend, and then had that visited because I was nearby Görlitz, and had that experience of the thing. And then it was another month, I think, that I went back to LA, found those glasses, and worked on things more, and came back. So something like that,
Just quickly, last question. What's coming up next?
Okay. Well, let me see. So it's the weekend, that's coming out. I do question and answer after this screening tonight that I'm going to go to. Then I did this play. I just finished this play at Lincoln Center. If you heard about that, Domesticated, it was called. Bruce Norris's new play, which is you may hear more about. It's an interesting play. He won the Pulitzer and Tony last year for Claiborne Park. And then I came back right away and shot a part in this movie called Mordecai with Johnny Depp and Ewan McGregor and Paul Bettany and Gwyneth Paltrow. David Kepper wrote the screenplay to
Jurassic Park directed. And then I went to Berlin, and then I went to New York, and now I'm here, and I do Conan tomorrow, and Craig Ferguson next week. And tomorrow night I play jazz.
Yay!
Well, I play piano in a jazz band at this place called Rockwell. You're all invited. It's in Los Feliz. Just call them up, Rockwell, like Sam Rockwell, and ask them if they need to give you a table and all that stuff. But I'm playing, if I'm not doing anything, all the rest of the Wednesdays in this month. I know. In fact, we're having another gig. We got somebody new. This thing happening at Santa Anita. I think. I've never been to a horse race, but we're playing in the daytime on Sunday. Couple hours, aren't we? So I'm doing that, and there we go. That's my.
Very
That's
cool.
my plate is full.